What's going on YouTube? It's your boy DollarMike back at again with another video. This is possibly the second video of today, so I hope you guys are enjoying this little 2-video day type of thing that I got going on. Either way, we're actually here to talk about some basic investment terms and just investment terms in general that you need to know if you're actually going to be investing your money. If you're just starting out investing, which I'm sure millions of people are this year, then you need to know what these actual investment terms mean, because it'll basically help you be a better investor. And why would you not want to be a better investor? If you're a better investor, then you can make more money, and you can make money a lot easier than someone that might not know what these terms mean. That simple. Either way, I'm going to go over a decent amount of need-to-know investment terms that you basically need to know to be a great investor in this video, and I'm going to use the Robinhood app to do so. There are obviously plenty of other brokerages you can use to invest, such as Webull, which if you sign up with my link down below, make sure you do that. You'll get 4 free stocks, such as Fidelity, such as TD Ameritrade, Public, M1 Finance, the list goes on and on. But overall, we're going to use Robinhood for this video because most of my subscribers actually use Robinhood, and it's a pretty solid platform in itself. This video was actually recommended by Marie Eats, so thank you very much for your comment. Always, guys, I'm telling you, if you guys have any questions about anything or you want me to make a video about it, just drop a comment down below and I'll try my best to make a video about it. It might not be my next video, but trust me, I see your comments, I read your comments, I'll get to your comments, if not already respond to them, but I'll make a video about it. Either way, we're making a video about this today, so let's not waste any more time. Let's get right into the video. Let's go. My Robinhood portfolio is primed, is right here, so let's actually get into it. So we're actually going to just scroll down. You can see I'm up for the month or whatever. You can see I got some options and stuff. That's cool and all, but we're not really going to get into any of that in this video. I actually have an options video, so if you guys want to check out my options video, make sure you check that video out and you'll enjoy that video. But I'm not going to talk about options in this video, so if you're looking to hear about option talk, it won't be in this video. This is more of a basic rundown of general investment terms that you should know if you're just starting out investing. Either way, let's just jump into it. And we're actually going to use one of my favorite stocks as the example for today. My favorite stock is actually, or one of my favorite stocks is Nintendo, my first stock on the list. The ticker symbol, and that's your first investment term, ticker. The ticker symbol for Nintendo is NTDOY. Every stock has a different ticker symbol. For AT&T, the ticker symbol is simply the letter T, and for Apple, the ticker symbol is AAPL. We're actually going to scroll down in a second, but before we scroll down, we're going to go ahead and click on trade. When you click on trade, you see 2 options. At least on Robinhood, you'll see 2 options. Those options will be buy or sell. You can see I already have sell as the first option, buy as the second. I'm going to go ahead and click on buy. So right here, this isn't a Robinhood walkthrough, by the way, but I can go ahead and choose the number of shares I want to buy. So let's say I want to buy 10 shares of Nintendo. I type in 10. It'll tell me the market price of what Nintendo is right now, which is sitting at about $80.84. And if I wanted to buy those 10 shares, it'll tell me how much the estimated cost would be, which would be $808.40. But there are also plenty of different ways to actually go and buy and sell your stocks. If you go ahead and click on shares at the top, you can change it from shares to dollars. So if I wanted to just invest $1 in Nintendo, I can do that. I can invest $1 in Nintendo, and that would give me a fractional share of Nintendo, and that's another investment term. For example, if I invest $40 into Nintendo, that would result in me getting roughly half a share of Nintendo, because as we know already, 1 share of Nintendo is basically $80.84. So if I go ahead and invest $40 in, I'll have about half a share of Nintendo, more than I already have now. It's that simple. Fractional shares is simply buying part of a share up until you get a whole share, and then it'll just keep buying part and keep buying part up until you get another whole share, until you get another whole share, until you get another whole share. If we go back to that same menu, then you can see that both of those options are actually under the market order tab. However, there is also another tab right below it, and currently I only use about 2 things on this tab, which is the recurring investment and the limit order. With the recurring investment, you go ahead and click on that. It's as simple as you put a set amount of money into Robinhood or whatever platform you decide to trade with, and you can basically have the money come out of your bank account going into that stock daily, weekly, bi-weekly, which is basically every 2 weeks, or monthly. If we go back and click on limit order, we can get into that. So with a limit order, you can see the market price of Nintendo right now, as I said before, is $80.84. So if you want to buy 1 share of Nintendo right now, this very second, even though the market's closed, so you technically can't, but if you could, if the market was open and it was sitting at $80.84, then you could go and buy 1 share of Nintendo for $80.84. But let's just say some great news about Nintendo just came out, and you were sure that the price of Nintendo shares would skyrocket or just go up even a little bit. However, you didn't want to pay over $85 for a share of Nintendo. You can simply go in and set your limit price to $85. and not 8,500. You can set it to $85. And basically when you set it to $85, you're going to go ahead and hit continue. You can go ahead and hit market hours for either you want to trade it during market hours or extended hours if you want to trade it after market hours if you think that the price will change when the stock market's already closed. I'm going to go ahead and click market hours for this example. And then you can go ahead and either make it good for 1 day or you can make it good for up to 90 days. Once you click on that, it'll actually ask you how many shares you want to buy. So let's say I want to do a limit order of 10 shares at a max price of $85. That means it'll be $850 max spent trying to buy shares of Nintendo because you have a limit order on it. So if Nintendo goes above $85 a share, you won't have to worry about it because it won't take any money from you. But if they stay under it, then you can of course buy in those 10 shares before it gets up to that price. Before we actually get into a couple more investment terms, I just want to go back to the main menu real quick, scroll up and click on buying power. So with buying power, this is actually the power that you have to go and buy shares, stocks, ETFs, cryptocurrency, at least on Robinhood. You can see it's broken down between how much brokerage cash you actually have and then what your pending orders you actually have as well coming out. In this case, I had $3.97 in brokerage cash, and I have a pending order of 34 cents coming out. So my overall buying power is $3.63. So that means I can go and buy $3.63 worth of any particular stock that offers fractional shares. Unless a stock is, of course, under $3.63, then I can just go and buy a full share of that particular stock. Not sure if I have any on my portfolio. I don't think I do, but in the event that I did, there you go. If I go all the way back and we go and click on trade again and we do sell this time instead of buy, it works the same exact way. They have market orders so you can sell fractional shares in dollars, or you can sell full shares if you want to do that as well, or you can do a sell limit order. So if we scroll down a little bit, we'll look at the first section of everything, which is your position. Obviously, this may be different on different platforms, but overall, they'll give you the same information. You can see here the number of shares I have, and you can see I have 5.040799 shares. I basically have 5 shares of Nintendo. If you see there to the right, the market value of what I have in Nintendo is $407.50. So the market opened up on Monday morning and I sold all my stock of Nintendo for $80.84 right now. I would get $407.50. I can either go deposit that into my bank account or I can put that into more stocks. The average cost is exactly what it sounds like. It's basically the average cost of whatever you paid for all of the shares you own of whatever stock you particularly own. So in this case, I bought Nintendo roughly, I believe, a little bit under $40 or maybe around $40. And then I also bought again at $50, and then I bought some at $65, I think, and then I bought like a little bit at $70. So overall, when you average all those numbers together, you get an average cost of $50.51, and that's my average cost of the 5 shares that I own of Nintendo. As far as the portfolio diversity goes, this is basically how much you have in a particular stock across your entire portfolio. You can see here my portfolio diversity for Nintendo right now is roughly 2%. So that means 2% of my portfolio is taken up by Nintendo. If my whole portfolio was Nintendo, you guys saw my whole portfolio earlier, it was about $19,000. So if I had $19,000 in Nintendo, then my portfolio diversity would say 100% because all of the shares that I have, my whole portfolio is basically in Nintendo, so that's 100%. You can see that's not the case at all. Only 2% of my portfolio is Nintendo. For today's return, which is the last trading day, which is December 18th, the past Friday, Nintendo was down $6.60, or basically 1.59%. The total return, as you can see, is completely different. That is actually how much I've gained since I originally invested in Nintendo and how much it's grown since that point. So I'm basically up overall with Nintendo roughly 60%, or $152.88. We already mentioned recurring investments, but like I said before, you can invest basically on a daily, weekly, bi-weekly, or monthly schedule. Personally up to you, and the amount of money you put in is also personally up to you. So if you want to invest $1 a day into Nintendo, $10 a day into Apple, $5 into Tesla every week, all of that is all of your decision. If we scroll down even further, we'll get into the stats. As you can see, there are 10 different stats here, and we're going to get into all of them right now. Let's start with open. So this is basically the last trading day when the market actually opens. So at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, when the market opens, or at least when it did on December 18th, basically last Friday, Nintendo was trading at $81.39. The high also reflects the last trading day. So that means that's the highest the share price has been for that stock for that last particular trading day. In that case, it was last Friday, and it also is $81.39. The low is the exact opposite, where it is the lowest share price of that stock on the last trading day, which in Nintendo's case was $80.60. So that's the lowest it got last Friday, and the highest it got was $81.39. The 52-week high is also pretty self-explanatory. It's basically the highest Nintendo stock has ever been in the past year, and the 52-week low is the exact opposite, the lowest Nintendo stock has ever been in the past year. As you can see, in the past year, Nintendo stock was down to roughly $35.82. So that was a great time to hop into Nintendo. $40 was a great time to hop into Nintendo. 50, my average cost is about 50 now. It's pretty a solid time to hop into Nintendo, still get some decent profits. Over on the right side is the volume. The volume also reflects the last trading day. The volume is basically how many shares of that given stock is bought and sold that day. So you can see on Friday, 287,178 shares were either bought and sold. Below that is the average volume. That's basically all the days combined. Basically how much buy and sell of the shares was going on every single day is calculated every single day. It'll be recalculated every single day because it changes every single day. Either way, the average volume of Nintendo is 382,125. So that basically means that nobody was really trading Nintendo, or a lot less people were trading Nintendo last Friday versus the average, because if it was above the average, then it'll be above the average, and in this case it's below the average. So we can see not too many people were trading Nintendo last Friday, but that could change next week, or that could change next month, or it could change in a day. The MKT cap stands for market capitalization. That is basically the stock market reflection of how much a company is actually worth based on the share price of the particular stock and the shares as a whole. So in this case, according to the stock market, and solely to the stock market, not to any individual investor or any individual company, according to solely the stock market, Nintendo alone is worth $77 billion. Now, they may be worth a little bit less than that to a company that wants to buy them out, or they may be worth well over that to a company that might want to buy them out in the future. I have no idea, but as far as the sole stock market valuation of the company, it is worth $77 billion. The P/E ratio is the price to earnings ratio. That is basically the share price of the stock divided by the earnings per share. The ratio is basically used for valuing companies to find out whether they're either overvalued or undervalued in the stock market. Typically, anything above a 15 PE ratio is pretty good. That basically means that investors are willing to pay a higher share price today because they think about the growth of the company in the future. And as far as me, I love Nintendo, and I also see their growth. I've already seen what they've done with the Nintendo Switch. I see what they're doing with Nintendo World, which I'm sure will make them a lot of money. And that's basically their amusement park. So you can see why people might value Nintendo or a stock like Apple or a stock like Tesla to have such a high PE ratio, because they see value in the company going forward in the future. Last on that list is div/yield, and that basically stands for the dividend yield. The dividend yield is displayed as a percentage and is the amount of money a company pays to shareholders for owning share of its stock divided by its current share price. Mature companies like Nintendo are likely to pay dividends. Other companies pay a dividend as well, like Coca-Cola, Apple, Waste Management, just to name a few, and trust me, there are plenty. If you guys don't know, make sure you check out my dividend investing videos, because I have those every single month, and I'll have a link for it right up there. In Nintendo's case, they pay roughly a 2% dividend yield every single year. So that basically means that Nintendo would pay me 2% of their share price every single year per share to hold their shares in the stock market. Before I close this video, the last thing I want to talk about is the Ex-Dividend Date. That is basically the last day that you can buy a share of a stock. You basically still get a dividend for it before they actually go ahead and pay out their dividend for whatever the next quarter is, the next month is. It depends on the stock. Some stocks pay out monthly, some stocks pay out quarterly, some stocks might only pay out a dividend once every single year. You have to check that for yourself, because obviously it depends on the particular stock. In Nintendo's case, I believe they pay out a dividend every single quarter. So that's that. And that's that. That's basically it for this video. I didn't think this video was going to be this long, so I'm just going to go ahead and cut it here. So if you like the video, make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you hit that subscribe button down below. Make sure if you have any comments, also drop them down below. Comments, questions, you know, all that good stuff. Hit me up on Instagram, Twitter, all that good jazz. And I'm out. Thank you for watching. DollarMike. Peace.